Welcome back, everyone, to Storytime with Xel. Tonight is the final chapter of Eternal Care Asylum, or Eternal Care Forest, either way. Sit back, relax, and let me read you a tale. Chapter 13, Eternal Care. James Alex Moreau, wanted for voluntary and involuntary manslaughter, grand larceny, and, oh dear, matricide. Looks like 14 years ago, Agatha Moreau was forced to drink cyanide while on her hospital bed, and the killer was never found, until now. Then we have William Theodore Davis, wanted in collusion with James Moreau and some manslaughter, and second and first-degree arson of his own. Detective Kane closes his folder after reading out the descriptions, and rubs the bridge of his nose, then continues saying, "Found them like this at the fork in the river a few miles from the city, about a week after they crashed their car into the forest below. And from the look of things, they had, clawed their own eyes out. Long before I got there. I took them in and they were escorted to court, but the judge found their behavior to be highly violent toward themselves and others, and declared them insane. They're clearly out of their minds, and I know they tried to rob this place last year, but you're the closest in the area that are the best experts in this sort of thing, so I brought them here." A few nurses in black scrubs walked over to gently escort James and William to sit in chairs a few feet apart, while Kane crosses his arms and looks to the professor's light blue smiling mask as Xelion, his tentacles and horns again hidden, says, "Their symptoms must stem from a traumatic past. Especially with matricide on the list for James, killing one's mother is deeply troubling for anyone's mind, and can fracture it easily, even decades after the event. Thank you for bringing them here, my friend. You did right for them. It will take time to get to the root of their issues." James and William both kept shaking their heads involuntarily and slowly rocking back and forth, under sedation to keep them from lashing out. They had dried blood under their fingernails, and several cuts on their arms and faces, with bandaged blindfolds on. Detective Kane nods and reaches over to shake Xelion's metal hand as he says, "Thank you, Professor Graves. I hope they don't give you too much trouble." And Xelion shakes his head. "Nyet. It's no trouble at all, my friend. It may sound like a commercial, but we really do enjoy helping others, no matter what state of mind they're in or how violent they become. For me, it gives me a sense of peace to help those in need." A small blonde child, almost 10 years old, wearing a white t-shirt with soft black pants, runs up from the stairwell and stops in front of Kane and Xelion, huffing and puffing to catch his breath, but smiling as big and happy as he can. Kane watches as Xelion kneels down to look at the kid and say, "Hey, Mikey, it's great to hear you up and about. What's got you in such a rush?" Mike hops up and down excitedly as he says, "I'm gonna live! I'm gonna live! Dr. Jeremiah said so! I get to go home today! Thank you, Dr. Gravy!" Then hugs Xelion as tight as he can before running back over to the stairs. Xelion chuckles and stands back up and looks to Kane to explain. "That's so wonderful. You wouldn't know it from looking at him. He's made a lot of progress. I won't go into the details, confidentiality and all, but little Mikey's parents brought him here about 5 months ago, and he was suffering from a condition that paralyzed his entire body. Most doctors gave him about a week to live, but a few recommended taking Michael here, and thank goodness for that. Makes me so happy to know he's going to be just fine and can finally go back to a normal life back home. Kane smiles and looks to where the kid came from, then looks back to Xelion while saying, "You do work miracles here, Doc." Kane nods slowly and smiles, then tilts his head and asks Xelion, "By the way, I've been meaning to ask you, why are you always wearing those masks? Wouldn't it be better for your patients to see your face?" To which Zell responds simply with, "My face is terrifying. All my life I've had rather extreme deformities, let's say, in my face. It's pretty scary, but I still want to help others, so I wear these. The patients respond better when I have a happy mask on, so I've made quite a few of them. Plus, they're comfortable." Kane nods again slowly, figuring that Xelion wasn't telling him the full truth, but decided not to press the issue. Then says, "Well, all right then. You can take care of them from here, right, big guy? I need to get back to the precinct and close this case." Xelion nods and places his metal hand on Kane's shoulder, saying, "Of course, Detective. Do what you need to. We'll get them to their rooms and take good care of them." And walks over to his new patients as Kane turns to head down the stairs and out of the building. Xelion kneels down in front of the two criminals to be at face level with them as he says, "Hello, James. Hello, William. We're going to be taking care of you from now on." James and Will both have next to no awareness that their tormentor was right there, or that anyone was around them for that matter. They simply drooled and shook their heads slowly. Xelion grins behind his mask and says, "Welcome back to Eternal Care Asylum." The end. 11161511006 in. Thank you all for listening. This was the first full-length story that I had written, and it was a whole lot of fun. Thank you all for listening, and tune in next time for another Storytime with Zell. Sweet dreams.